Little more than 1,000 years ago, a goat herder noticed that after his goats ate a special kind of berry, they became hyperactive and bounced around even at night. Curious, he tried the berries himself and noticed the same effects. Supposedly, this was humanity's very first encounter with coffee. Since then, coffee has become the world's most popular drink. Thanks to its rich flavor, stimulating effects, and mood-boosting properties, billions of people enjoy it every single day, but only a few actually know what coffee does inside the body. If you want to learn about its health effects and how to drink it in a way that maximizes the benefits and reduces any potential harm, then stick around because that's exactly what we will cover in this video. Every day, people drink more than 2 billion cups of coffee, so it's worth understanding what the consequences might be. Researchers have been studying the short and long-term effects of coffee for decades, and today we have a pretty good idea what it does. Despite old myths, coffee is not just harmless, it can actually be considered a functional food with surprising number of health benefits. The best known component is of course caffeine, responsible for most of the stimulating effect. Caffeine works by blocking a brain chemical called adenosine. Adenosine levels naturally rise throughout the day, making us feel more tired and sleepy, then drop again during sleep, so we wake up feeling refreshed. By blocking adenosine, caffeine reduces fatigue and at the same time boosts dopamine and adrenaline levels. The result is that familiar state of heightened alertness, sharper focus, and even better physical performance. Since dopamine also strongly influences mood, many people feel cranky or off until they had their morning coffee. Studies even show that caffeine can enhance problem solving and other cognitive skills. Combined with its mood-lifting effects, this explains why coffee breaks became so popular in the 20th century. Employers noticed that workers were happier and much more productive after they had their coffee. However, coffee doesn't just improve mood short-term either. Long-term consumption has been linked to a reduced risk of depression. In fact, one study in older adults showed that this effect wasn't due to caffeine alone. Other compounds found in coffee also seem to have mood-enhancing properties. Coffee contains over 1,000 other bioactive compounds, including antioxidant polyphenols such as chlorogenic acid. These can reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, and coffee is actually one of the richest sources of such protective compounds in the human diet. But moderation matters. For most people, 2 to 3 cups a day won't cause any issues, but sensitive individuals may experience anxiety, heart palpitations, or trembling. Personally, I also have to be careful. Coffee gives me a big burst of motivation, but sometimes I can't focus at all, and it definitely interferes with my sleep. One natural compound that can help with this is L-theanine found in tea. It can counteract some of caffeine's negative effects, so the combination of the two often improves productivity and focus. It's no accident that caffeine is a favorite among athletes. It enhances both strength and endurance, increasing physical capacity. Typically, the amount of caffeine in 2 to 4 cups of coffee is enough to deliver these benefits. But if it starts to interfere with sleep, it's better to skip it. Caffeine also boosts adrenaline, which increases fat burning and speeds up metabolism. Studies show energy expenditure can rise by about 5 to 10%, which is also quite significant. Coffee also helps fight fatigue, making it easier to stay physically active, which is another reason why regular coffee drinkers tend to have lower rates of obesity. That being said, no one will lose weight just from drinking coffee. Diet and lifestyle are still the main keys. And of course, if you are relying on coffee just to function because you are constantly exhausted, then what you really need is more rest. Coffee with lots of sugar and cream is not going to help with your health or your weight either. Milk on its own isn't a problem, but some nutrients found in meat reduces the bioavailability of coffee's beneficial compounds. So if you want to maximize coffee's health benefits, drink it black. Research on coffee and chronic diseases is quite extensive. Overall, coffee seems to lower the risk of many conditions: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's. The strongest benefits appear at about 3 to 4 cups per day, with roughly a 20% reduction in risk. Coffee also strongly protects the liver, so much so that some scientists suggest it should be prescribed to patients with liver disease. These benefits likely come from polyphenols such as chlorogenic acid. And while people often assume coffee is bad for heart health because of blood pressure, studies show that in regular drinkers it does not cause lasting increases in blood pressure since tolerance develops. In fact, chlorogenic acid may improve blood flow and reduce inflammation, helping to protect the cardiovascular system. Coffee even contains some soluble fiber and compounds that act like prebiotics, feeding gut bacteria and supporting a more diverse microbiome. This could also contribute to its health benefits. The most important factor is timing. Because caffeine blocks fatigue signals in the brain, drinking it too late in the day can make it hard to fall asleep, and sleep is essential for our health. Research shows that those who drink coffee mostly in the morning have much lower health risks than those who sip it all day. Genetics also play a role. About half of Europeans metabolize caffeine quickly, while others are slow metabolizers. For slow metabolizers, high intake increases cardiovascular risk, so it's best to stick to 1 to 2 cups earlier in the day. If even small amounts of coffee overstimulate you and disrupts your sleep, that's a sign you might fall into this category. Another factor is diterpenes, compounds found in unfiltered coffee like French press, espresso or Turkish coffee. These compounds can raise LDL cholesterol levels. If you already have a high LDL or ApoB, use a paper filter or drink filtered coffee, since that removes most of the diterpenes. However, if your cholesterol levels is normal, unfiltered coffee may actually have added benefits. Instant coffee is low in diterpenes too, but it also has fewer antioxidants, and sometimes it can also come with additives, so the best option is freeze-dried, pure instant coffee. Pregnant women should also limit caffeine. Health agencies recommend a maximum of 200 mg per day to reduce the risk of complications, which equals to roughly about 2 cups of coffee. Finally, let's look at some myths surrounding coffee. Does it cause reflux? The evidence is mixed. Some people report it worsens symptoms, but large studies don't show a clear link. It likely depends on the individual, so experimentation is key. Does coffee stimulate the gut? Yes. Coffee speeds up gastric emptying and colon motility, which is why so many people feel the urge to go after their morning cup. Does coffee dehydrate you? No. While caffeine has a mild diuretic effect, regular coffee drinkers adapt to it. In fact, coffee contributes to daily fluid intake. A 2014 study showed that up to 4 cups a day hydrate the body just as well as water. Should you wait 90 minutes after waking to drink coffee? There's no good evidence for this popular claim. Studies don't support the idea that it disrupts the circadian rhythm. So if you like coffee right after waking up, go ahead. Is coffee harmful on an empty stomach? Not for healthy people. There's no scientific evidence that it causes any damage. And for those who practice fasting, black coffee won't break a fast since it has negligible calories, though if you are adding sugar, milk or oils, then it does. And finally, 2 quick tips before I forget it. Although many people like their coffee hot, that's not a great idea because it can damage the esophagus. This applies not only to coffee but to any hot beverage, which can increase cancer risk, so it is better to wait until our coffee, tea or soups cool down a bit. The other tip is that single-use disposable paper cups, besides being bad for the environment, usually contain a thin layer of plastic. Because of this, they can release tens of thousands of microplastic particles into our bodies. Now don't stress about this, but whenever possible, try to drink coffee from a glass or stainless steel cup. So in summary, coffee can offer a wide range of health benefits and may protect against many major diseases. Surprisingly, a few cups a day might actually be one of the best things you can do for your health. But timing, moderation, and individual sensitivity all matter. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new about the world's favorite beverage. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with some friend and let me know your thoughts below.